Hello. Welcome back. Another week, another show. We've been very busy in the background doing lots of preparation for shows in the next coming weeks. So we've got lots to announce. We'll definitely talk about a couple at the end of tonight, and we'll be back next week for at least 2 shows, but I think we've got 3 coming up next week. So we'll pop them in the comments for you later on, and I'll let you know the link. Did anyone go to any music on the weekend? I can't actually remember what I did on the weekend. I don't think I saw any music this weekend. I'm not sure. I don't have a clue, actually. But there you go. We've got Adele joining us again tonight. I know we spoke to her a little bit earlier in the year. So if you've got any questions that you want to know, pop them in the comments. We're going to have a talk to her about her current single and whether she's going to go on the road, where we can find her. So we're going to welcome her into the room. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Danni. Thanks for having me back.
We love having you back. Welcome back. Have you been well? What has the last few months been doing for you?
Yeah, the last few months have flown by. I feel like I just was chatting to you maybe a couple of weeks ago. So time is definitely sort of warping at the moment. But it's been good. It's been a good couple of months for feeling. Really enjoyed getting to sort of just let those, the last song kind of go out and find new people and then get ready for this song to come out. So it's been a lot focused on releasing at the moment.
Yes. It's a lot to do, isn't it? There's a lot to it, to releasing a song.
Yeah, there is, especially when you're most of the team yourself. So, I have a couple people on my team now, but most of it is me and just sort of getting help from friends. And so when you are that main person driving it, it can be a lot, but it's also really fulfilling and rewarding, and I probably wouldn't have it any other way. So that's good.
Yeah, it is hard sometimes to let go of that creative side as well, because you kind of want that touch, because you know what the song's about, what it means, and so it would be hard to let go and let somebody else do some of those tasks, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think so. I guess being the person that has written the song, when it comes time to even just writing, blurbs and things like that, it is just easier. It would be easier for me to do. And if I had someone else doing that, even say like, you send off the information for a press release to be written, it's still you inputting that information. And I don't see how anyone else could do it. But then it's also really fun when you get to work with someone else to turn what I've written into something that makes sense to other people.
Yeah, and how they unfold it. Absolutely.
How it actually, so that's the part that I really do enjoy about having other people now helping out with the, say, publicity. Like Jules is incredible. The way that she can get what I'm trying to say and then make it sound intelligent.
I know Jules is incredible at that. I know sometimes I've had conversations with her and I thought that didn't even make sense to me, but she got it. She gets it every time. I didn't even understand me, but she does. Jules has got a really good way with words, and she understands music. And I think because she takes on people that she doesn't take people on that she doesn't understand or feel their music. So when she takes an artist on, she's already got some sort of connection she's felt with it. So I think that helps and shows in her work.
Yeah,
when she's releasing the songs.
I agree. Feel very looked after in that. And we had someone saying hello. Jan, hello.
Jan has popped in to say hi. How is it going up there, Jan? Is it warm today? It's actually been really nice and warm here. I think in town it got to 26 or something, which to you is probably cold, but it was beautiful for us. Yeah. What did it get to for you today?
30s, probably high 30s. Yeah, I don't know if we got to 40 today, but it felt kind of sticky today. We had clouds over. The rain is just sort of hanging around. It's telling us it could come soon, but I can't wait.
So what does it normally get to? What's a normal summer sort of?
This time of the year, because it's not really a summer, it's a wet season. So it's more sort of 40 degrees, but really humid. It can be like 80% humidity sometimes. It's a build-up season kind of leading into the wet season. So yeah, it's generally 40s and it's pretty muggy. It's pretty sticky.
Wow. Yeah, that's the worst bit, isn't it?
Our summer is kind of cold. 32. Yeah, nice.
Jan's in North Brisbane. 32 there today. Yeah.
So I think is Brisbane kind of get like a wet season-ish, or maybe a bit further up?
I was going to say it's probably you definitely, but not. It's worse further up the further.
Yeah.
Yeah. 32 is nice in Brisbane. I don't mind in the 30s in Brisbane. It's different here. You just burn. Yeah, we walk outside and you burn. It's very harsh UV, definitely. But yeah, so I don't think I could. I don't know how I'd go in the 40 degrees with the humidity. That would take a fair. My hair would certainly be 3 times the size.
Yeah, mine ends up quite frizzy by the end of the day.
Yeah. No straightening hair at the moment. No. So tell us a little bit. You said you've been prepping and getting ready for this release. Have you been doing a bit of writing in between as well, or just has it been a bit busy?
Well, I hadn't been, and I just came to this realization. It's probably just this week. I was like, realized that I had been neglecting the writing and the creative side. So I sat myself down and made sure I got a chance to actually work on some songs, because I always have songs floating around. There's little lines. There wouldn't be a day that a line doesn't pop in my head, and I kind of just collect them and put them somewhere. But I hadn't spent time to sit down and flesh them out and actually let the songs kind of appear a bit more. So I'm going to make sure I still have time for that, because I was realizing that I'm putting the effort into getting this music out, but I probably won't have music to put out after this if I don't still write. So
how long
that's
does it take? Yeah,
goals.
that's huge. How long does it take you to write? So, like as you said, you get the ideas every day. But when you do sit down, do you find that you can just, I'm going to set this time and I'm going to write, or does it sort of need to happen naturally to finish a song?
It changes from song to song, definitely. And I think it changes how, like a muscle, I think it changes how often I'm actually practicing it. So having had a bit of a break and sitting down last night, it was quite sort of tricky to get everything out and to come up with maybe the chord progressions or ideas for melodies that I wanted. But when I'm in the flow of it and I've been practicing it daily or weekly, I find it's quicker. So I think then it depends on the song and what sort of cause the song and what I want to say changes on how quick it is. So I think when sometimes a deeply personal song for me can be written quicker, because I kind of have this feeling of, well, I can't say the wrong thing because anything I say will be relevant to me. But when I'm trying to do a song that's a bit bigger than me, maybe it's a world issue that's weighing on my head, it takes me a little bit longer to think about how I'm going to say it and will it make sense to other people.
Yeah. So it depends on the topic.
So definitely changes from time to time. But that's part of the journey.
It is. It's part of the fun
you just disappeared for the briefest second.
Oh, will we come back? You can see us
you're
again.
Back. Yeah.
Oh, good. It was fine. I didn't see that happen. So if it does, just wave at us so that we can see what we can do to fix it. One thing fun fact. Oh, this is a new thing. Scott's doing fun facts now. He's
that actually ties right into what I was just saying.
The music video for Underground featured the docket. It did. Now tell us about it. Tell us a little bit about how this came about.
Well, that song I was approached by my brother-in-law's brother. I had moved back from Fitzroy Crossing to Broome. That was in 2020. And I'd always been sort of a distant part of Environs Kimberley, and that mum had lots to do with them, but I followed their work a lot. And my brother-in-law, Bart Pigram, had been approached. Actually, I think he's on this picture here. He'd been approached to write an anti-fracking song, kind of commissioned in a way, and he was going to get his sister to do it, Naomi Pigram, who's incredible and would have absolutely killed it, but she wasn't here. So he asked me, and we sort of went out to visit this lake just out of Broome on Roebuck Station, which is his grandmother's country, Lake Eda, and there's this beautiful inland lake, and we had a look at this lake and thought about, fracking in itself isn't just getting down to the levels where the gas exists. It's also the waste ponds that they store the chemical waste in. It's disrupting to sometimes the water table. So we were looking out at this beautiful inland lake and thinking, will this still be here in 20 years if we allow fracking to continue? And it's even, the country that it blocks off from people to access. So, we really got into that mindset and went back to my mum and dad's house, and that song really did flow out quite quickly, I guess, because rather than us focusing on maybe the ins and outs of fracking as such, we decided to focus on thinking about Mother Earth, thinking about maybe land and country from the perspective of a brolga flying over. So it still had this really personal, this personal lens that meant we could sing about it from our sort of hearts as opposed to scientifically say. Yeah.
That's really
cool. It was a really cool process, and that was a song that wrote itself really quickly. I think Bart's, he had this riff that he came up with on the guitar that just straight away conjured up the right words and melodies, and it was really fun. I think sometimes things just click, like that, and it was really fun.
That would be really fun, and the connection that you had to have to write that, so that same feelings as each other to understand that. So very on a very similar page at the time to.
Yeah, definitely. I think going out there together and seeing that area and how special it is was the right way to set the scene. And we hadn't written together, but that was the start of us forming a band, me and my brother-in-law and Bart, and we played together for a while and did some really fun concerts, and it was a really great time playing and writing songs together. And that was my first real sort of one-on-one co-writing experience. I think I'd written in groups for work, but I hadn't actually had that one-on-one. So yeah, it was really cool. I hope I get to do it again. I sort of have since, but yeah.
It's exciting. And did you sort of, because you were writing it for that cause, did it sort of change how both of you were writing? Like, you've got your style when you're writing a song that's just for you. Did it change your style, or did you both sort of have that similar?
I guess the style it was written in was probably leaned towards Bart's style of guitar playing, but his style, I suppose, it's quite folk. It's probably aspects of it is like blues roots, and then it would have, I kind of feel it's got sometimes leaning towards a country, alt country at least. So I think we naturally had similar styles. There were people that we were listening to that were similar at the time. I know Mississippi John Hurt really influenced Bart, but also really influenced his dad, Stephen Pigram, who is one of the biggest broom music exports from the Pigram brothers. And that probably was a really good thing in that we had some similar foundations of music that we loved.
Yes.
And I mean, I didn't think too much into it. We never set out to say this was a certain style either. We just we made the music as it sort of came naturally. And it wasn't really like we're going to do this in a reggae style or a country or, it wasn't really decided. It just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important, to just write how you want to write and not worry about what you fit into. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've similarly done that with my songs that I've written. I never set out to be a style. It was just as they came out naturally, or as I sort of leaned towards. And I think people do it differently. There's probably no right or wrong way, but perhaps you write in the style that most influences you.
Yeah, maybe. And it just comes out. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Well, I know that you're sitting there with your guitar. Would you like to do the song for us, and then we can come back and have a chat about it?
Absolutely.
Well, I will let you have the room.
I've been here before, felt the shame and remorse. I played along till I realized it's not my fight. It's a symptom of your pain. I see the scars through the sun. I won't be made to hate myself again. If you're looking for an angel, you had better change your ways. You're a little far from heaven, man. It's crowded at that gate, chasing these fantasies. You'll end up tired and alone. Find you laying next to someone you wanted to truly know, and the one you let go of won't to a life that I've outgrown. It's a different set of rules. I'm stepping off this pedestal back down to earth. You'll never find a perfect girl. If you're looking for an angel, you have better change your ways. You're a little far from heaven, man. It's crowded at that gate, chasing these fantasies. You're not tired and alone. Find your lane next to someone you won't ever truly know, and the one that you let go of won't come home. If you're looking for an angel, you had better change your ways. You're a little far from heaven, man. It's crowded at that gate, chasing these fantasies. You're not tired and alone. Found your lane next to someone you won't ever truly know, and the one that you let go of won't come home.
Love that song. I really like this one. I think it's just a really interesting it's an interesting story, and it's a really good point. But I was reading your press release, and I saw where you said that you'd had a second verse that you changed when you're recording.
Yeah.
How did that all happen? What was it? Just you weren't happy before you went in, or when you were recording it didn't feel right? What happened?
I think it's funny now. I can't remember what the other verse was. I think it said the same thing essentially. It was maybe just a different metaphors that kind of weren't landing. And so I sort of just, I'd talked to the boys that I went into the studio with, Elwood Gray and Albert Gray, the brothers, and he just really gently said, oh, I don't know, like perhaps we could try again or something. He just prompted me. So I just sat there and was like, all right, how else will I say it? And that's when that sort of, talking about the different set of rules, it being a double standard, but coming off that pedestal back down to earth, tied it back into that angel theme. And I think it just fitted. Yeah. And then we were really trying to work out what to do. It was the last line of that second verse, the one that the last line of the chorus, the one that you let go of won't come home. That was different before we went into the studio, and we really all decided together, like, we need to let it hang on that note and sort of leave it like it didn't resolve. It's kind of unfinished. So so that was really cool to do that and have the sort of input from the guys, because they're really great songwriters, the guys that I had in the studio with me, and I respect their opinion a lot. So it was nice to have their help.
I love that. And I know, like you were saying, in your just even things like, leaving that gap between verses and like that thinking time when you have a song. And I always find it interesting, because some songs, you've really got a strong point and you need to give people that thinking time before you go into that next verse. And then other times you're wanting them to think faster. And I think this is that song, like, I'm not sure what actually is the outcome here. And they kind of get to make that up.
That's what I quite like too, in attacking each song a bit different. And you can have a formula that generally works, but each song is going to be conveying a different emotion. So allowing space for people to feel that emotion and think about how does that relate to me, maybe, or I think that's important.
I think we do that when we listen to music unconsciously. I don't think we really know how much it actually makes our minds think. And I think sometimes we think it's, that's a really cool song, but what's actually really speaking to us is probably the message that you're not actually consciously getting.
Exactly.
That strength of music. Yeah. I love this song. I think it's a great one. How had the reaction been? Because it came out on the 25th of October, didn't it? 26th?
Yeah. 25th. I had a big launch in Broome. on the 26th, which was really cool. So I got to have all the friends and family and people in Broome that have kind of followed along on the music journey. So that was a really nice and wholesome way to kind of launch the song.
Yep.
I think it's done well. It's had a few radio rotations, and ABC gave it a spin on their Saturday Night Country. So I'm pretty happy with where it got to. It's been different, a little bit different to Wiley Blue. I guess each song is probably going to land a little bit differently.
Yep.
But it's really cool to see that it's on its own little journey.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger sound too. It's a heavier song, so I can understand that maybe it might take a little bit longer to sort of land.
It does. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's just a matter of people need longer to listen to it more.
Yeah.
I know some songs that are heavy, and especially songs that have a lot going on in the background as well, because the way your mind breaks it down, I think it takes a little bit longer. And then that's why sometimes you see some songs sort of don't do much. And then a few weeks later, they start to climb again because people have started to go, oh, I like that, because it's just they've just taken that time to understand what they're listening to.
I agree. And I suppose too, like, this has been a favourite of mine and a favourite of sort of close friends and family. So I never really questioned, obviously you want other people to relate to it, but I was always probably going to put it out because it's a song that means a lot to me, and my family loved it as well. So I was like, oh, it'll find a home somewhere. Yeah. I know that someone will relate to it, and it'll maybe sit on someone's shoulders and make them think, and that's good enough for me if it does that for a couple people.
Absolutely. I think it's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about that, because it's obviously come from your life experiences over time. When did you write it? What was there a specific moment that kind of you felt that, or is it something that just sort of grew over time?
I think it grew. It definitely grew over time, but it was a song that landed really quickly. I wrote the chorus and the first verse quite quickly, just probably in an evening. I think initially I put it into my voice notes on my phone. I was working at the time and quickly sort of sung this chorus idea into my phone, and then sat down a bit later and really thought about what it was. And I think the emotion that I'd been feeling, I'd felt a few times before, this kind of turmoil of frustration and maybe, what's the word when is it indignant, where you're sort of like, that's not fair. So that had happened before, but it was playing out in the relationship I was in. So hi Chris. Thanks for joining. So it was sort of, it had been ongoing, and I guess it was unlucky that the person I was with at the time copped the brunt of it, but the song had to be written. And it was something that I thought about a little bit broader than just me, and it was a bit more about maybe societal expectations and it was generally how we expect women to behave in relationships, but then perhaps a bit broader. And any time you feel a double standard it could relate to, it's certainly frustrating when you feel someone's holding you to a high standard, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that people are like, it would relate maybe to other people in other settings. So even though it started really personal, I kind of hope that it relates a bit broader. I don't know, is there anyone here that's heard it and can...
I love that. Let us know what you think and how it relates to you. And you're on fire tonight, Scott. In fact, Adele grew up heavily involved in car racing and speedway, and I did see this. Tell us a little bit about that.
I was on the sidelines. I would love to say I was behind the wheel. I was involved in the sense of bleeding the brakes with Dad and being in the shed. My dad actually raced cars, built the cars from scratch. He's a welder by trade, but him and my brother would build these cars and race them. My mum, when she was in her 20s, her and Dad met in Derby in the Kimberley in the 80s, and they would race speedway together. And she was a bit of a rev head by the sounds of it, was racing. I think she was racing before she found out she was pregnant with my sister. So then she had to stop. It was probably a little tiny embryo that also got addicted to adrenaline. But so she was in the family. It was in the family. But I was there on the weekends begrudgingly as a teenager. Was sort of was like, I can't believe we have to go out there. But as I got older, really started to appreciate the skill that goes into it and the time and the effort, and it's just fun just to be out there and hear.
Did you ever drive?
No, he didn't let me. No,
Really?
he was like, if you're going to have a go, you're here every Saturday. You're in the you're practicing. You're in the shed every weeknight, and I was too busy doing other things, so I would go and watch more so. And I definitely helped out in little ways, passing him the wrong size spanner and having a go at working.
Did you still go in every now and again?
Yeah, definitely went to Speedway often. Actually, it was just because Mum was going every weekend. We had to go and watch, so it was fun. And it was kind of, there was this other little world, I guess, too. You've got the Speedway happening over here, and then you've got all the parked cars and the teenagers sort of trying to find their own fun, which was kind of wandering around and seeing who's who and what was happening. So I kind of liked both. The social aspect was pretty fun too.
Yeah, absolutely. I do love going to the Speedway.
I was going to say, have you been to the Speedway?
Yeah. I used to always run the ambulance, so as awful as it sounds, we used to, there was an accident, we got to do this stuff, and hopefully no one got hurt, but we still had to get them out. And
it's amazing too, though. Like, you're watching Speedway and you're like, wow, it's so dangerous, but it's so much safer probably on that track than on the road.
Exactly right. It's actually a lot safer, and it's a more controlled environment. You know what you're doing, and the track. And no, I used to love it. And because you're in the ambulance, you're right on the start line a lot of the time, so you get to see everything.
You're close up. You're right in the action.
It's great. Spot. And we used to do the drags as well. I used to love the drags. Used to have some, because you're sitting, you can just see the entire thing just go straight in front of you.
I'm definitely a little bit, I feel like a little bit bogan when I am there, because I enjoy the smell of the unburnt fuel. That is such a good smell too.
And the tyres too. The smell of the tyres. I love that smell too. I know that's
ready for another fun fact. I love it.
Go. He's so excited. You like horse riding, and you bought a collie cross Kelpie. How old is Dolly?
Dolly is, I forget. I keep saying I'm just going to celebrate her birthday on Dolly Parton's birthday. I got her in 2021 and she was about 7 months. So she's probably about 5. I'll call her 5.
Yep.
She's an absolute sweetheart. She's not annoying me tonight, but I did do a live a little while. It was sort of like a podcast interview, and I let her in the room, and then she was like, it's dinner time, and just hassled me the entire time. And I was like trying not to, so she's locked out now. She's a sweetheart. She was on a station just out of Broome, or sort of halfway between Broome and Fitzroy, up the highway, and she was a working dog for 7 months, but she retired early. So then I got her. My cousin was working out there, and this message came through from Mum that was like, anyone want Sarah, this beautiful dog? And I was like, Sarah, that's a strange name for
That's a really strange name for a dog.
For a beautiful border collie. So I renamed her Dolly, and she took to it straight away. As soon as I was feeding her and saying Dolly, she was like, yeah, that sounds good.
I'll answer to it. You're going to give me food. That will do. Whatever you want.
But she's good. She, you wouldn't know that she, she sort of rounds you up, but she's also pretty chill. Like, she doesn't need a lot of running around. I walk her every morning, but she can also lie in the house all day and sleep and not even raise a hip. Like, she's pretty content. So it's good.
She's happy to be around you. Is she going to go on the road with you? I know that you were talking before. You're like, no. So you've got to leave her home. How many weeks are you going to be from her?
Well, I'm probably going to be on the road for like 4 months. So it would be, I think it'd be too hard, too limiting to take her with me. But my housemate, I live in a house with my best friend, and she loves her as well. She was like, I was like, I can send Dolly to someone else. And my bestie said, it's my dog as well. So
that's lovely. But you'll she'll be happy and looked after and fed. She'll still get her food on time.
Yeah, she'll definitely get her food on time. She reminds you if you don't. It's sunset. She's like, where's dinner?
As soon as the watch tells her. Chris just popped a comment in there, and I can't see it. Borders are the best. He loves his little girl. Dogs are the best, aren't they? Dogs, pets. I just love animals. I'm happy to have any pet except for a snake. That's where I would draw the line. No snakes.
Yeah, snakes are pretty hectic. I think dogs are, I guess that's why they say the sweetest companion. So
yeah, they're loyal, and they genuinely love you. Yeah. Actually, my cat's outside in the pen at the moment. She's probably crying because she's been out there for a bit long, but she didn't want to come in when I went to get her in before I did the show, so she's probably crying at me now.
Living with that decision now.
Whoops. She won't do that next time. She probably will. That's the sad bit. She just wants to get away from her brothers. Tell us a little bit. You're going to hit the road. You're heading to Tamworth. And you've got a plan to be on the road for 4 months. Where can we follow you to sort of see where you're going and if we're in an area to come see you?
Definitely on my socials. I keep them pretty well up to date. I'm across Insta, Facebook. That's the website there is also a good one. I'll make sure all my gigs are listed on there. And I will be in Tamworth playing along Peel Street. And I'll have that on Eventron, which will give it to the official gig guide for Tamworth. So if you're headed that way too and want to see me, definitely just keep an eye out on the gig guide. But otherwise, follow me on socials. I'll make sure to keep everyone updated with where I'm going. And it's just Adele Oliver. So it'll be great to get to see some familiar faces.
Yeah,
I know that you're headed to Tamworth as well. Hey, Danni.
Oh, we're so excited for Tamworth. It's our favourite time of year. It's also the most exhausting time of the year. So you start off on a real high and then you absolutely go so hard that by the end of Tamworth, you're absolutely wrecked and it's hot and you're tired and you just want to sleep. And then you get home, you have a few hours sleep, and then the Tamworth blues sit in because you miss it so much.
Well, that's the beginning of a tour for me. So I'm kind of hoping
you're going to stay on
this time for like 4 months.
Yeah. That is fantastic. And so have you got some of the venues already sorted, or are you going to sort of set that as you go as well?
I've got my spot. I've already worked out my little spot on Peel Street for busking. So that should be good. And then I have a festival just on that last weekend, Nundle Rocks. So that's locked in. And then there's a few shows leading up to it. But yeah, I think at the moment with Tamworth, it's pretty busy. So I've just got the busking spot and I'll, hopefully there might be some other things pop up. I don't know, maybe not.
You've got to do the busking. It's kind of like a passage, isn't it? You've got to give it a go for a year. You might not want to do it again, but you've got to give it a go.
Yeah. And Chris might leave with a different gig the year after. But yeah, definitely see you there, Chris. That'll be great.
Yeah, it's the best week of the year. I agree. It's just that it starts the year off on such a high point. And then you come back and you go back to work and you're exhausted. Yeah. But it's worth it every year. It costs a fortune. And we go home with no voice and we think, oh my gosh, but it's worth it. It's the best festival we have, I think. It's just something very special. Traditions, I think.
Yeah. I love it.
It has been so lovely having you back on the show again. Thank you for coming back. Let's do it in Tamworth. Let's do a show and catch up and see you in person. So I will be watching for your busking spot along the way.
Yeah, that'll be great. I'll definitely come and find you and catch up in person, which will be really cool. So thanks so much for having me on again. It's been beautiful.
Thank you so much. And everybody, we will be back next week. We've got lots and lots of shows coming. So on Monday, I think we've got Imogen Clark. On Thursday, we've got Liam Brew before he comes down to play Emma Thinner the following week or week after that. So you can still get tickets. We've got the links up for that as well. And then the following week, we've got lots of shows coming up as well. I think we've got 3 or 4 each week for the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out on the pages. We'll get them up as soon as they're confirmed and the times are correct. And we'll keep you updated. But thank you for joining us. And thank you again, Adele. It's been so good having you.
Thank you, Danni. See you next time.
See ya.